My name is Jordan Kincheloe, and this is my major presentation over social networking. What is social networking? According to the dictionary, social networking is the use of dedicated websites and applications to interact with other users or to find people with similar interests to oneself. Social networking has grown to become one of the largest and most influential components of the web. Some of the most common that most people know about would be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, but there are numerous applications that can be applied in the classroom. Here's a look at students' life in social media. This data was taken in 2015, so we can assume that some of these numbers and percentages are higher now in 2018. The data starts off by saying children aged 2 to 11 comprise nearly 16 million or 9.5% of the active online universe. These are our elementary and early middle school students. 73% of American teens aged 12 to 17 use social networking sites. Social networking and blogs now account for nearly a fourth of the time that Americans spend online. As we all know, social media and technology are everywhere, and that's where our students are living. 43% of them in grades 9 through 12 say social networking is their primary form of communication between their friends. It's how they want to learn. 63% of students grades 6 through 12 say they want online textbooks where they can communicate with other classmates. It's how they want to talk to us as well. A third of middle school and high school students say they want their schools to provide tools to communicate with their teachers electronically. And this is where a lot of the social networking is going to come into play in our classroom. It also goes into college. 1 out of 10 colleges, admission officers from the top 500 colleges, say that they look at their applicant social media profiles during the decision-making process. Social media is unstoppable. Out of the schools that ban mobile devices and the use of social media, 63% of students still use them. It's their reference point. Students are using Twitter and Facebook. Actually, 62% of them are using those forums to find current events and stay up with the news and politics. Social media can also be dangerous, so we need to make sure that we are aware of the policies and procedures and using it in our classroom and monitor it the best to our abilities. Another big part to social networking in the classroom is staff training. This is really important. The top link I posted is a site that you can go to as a school, as a team, by yourself to learn about how to use social media in the classroom and at school. So your staff needs to be trained on the do's and don'ts of social media in the classroom. This is very important. They should embrace social media as a great tool, with it being a key form of communication with students and also parents. Staff, students, and parents should feel comfortable and understand what is appropriate. And you should always get parental consent for every kind of social media networking that you use in your classroom. Transparency is key. Parents and students need to know exactly what is going on at all times so we never get in sticky situations and lines never get crossed. Types of social media. Now let's get to the fun part where we actually talk about the different forms of social networking that you can use in your classroom. The first one is Facebook. I think everybody is probably pretty familiar with Facebook, but here's some ways that you can incorporate it into your classroom. You can have a special class page, and this is where you can post pictures and information as well as assignments for your students. So it's a way for early childhood, so if you're elementary and middle schoolish, depending on what middle school is at where you are, it's probably going to be just a forum to use with parents. As you get older into the grades, it's a forum that you could use with your students as well. So that's when you'd be able to post assignments on there. You can post work from your students, so highlight different things that they do. It's for collaboration and communication. So you can communicate with the parents, with the students. They can communicate with each other. It's just a great forum. And also, parents can post questions that they have Students can post questions that they have as they get older. So let's move on to another well-known social networking is Twitter. You can use Twitter in the classroom by connecting with other classrooms and students in various areas. So you can use it to communicate with different classrooms and schools in your district, in your state, in the country, and then all around the world. So it's a really cool aspect to use in the classroom. Students can use it for research. So you can get on there and do lots of research and find different cool things on there. Teachers can also use Twitter as research to find professional development, and I found that out with my interview with my administrator this year. You can use it as students get older to send out reminders for students. Students can post questions and ideas, so it's a great way to communicate. So if they have an idea, they have questions about different parts of the world, they can post on there and kind of talk with other people. Something that I found out during my research that I thought was really interesting was that students can post an interesting thing that they learned that day in class. So you can kind of use it as an assessment tool as well. Instagram. We can share, you can have a specific class page, so this would be private with only the parents and then later on students as well in your classroom. You can share daily pictures from the class. You can post assignments and ideas for studying. You can use it to highlight student work, student achievement, and stuff like that. Another cool way to implement students into it when they get older is that they can use it to post picture essays. So hashtags and tagging the class page, they can use it that way. We can move on to blogs and vlogs. So blogs are a written form of documentation online, and then vlogs are a video form. So you can use this, we can have two ways of using this in the classroom. You can use it with parents and students, and then you can also use it just with teachers. So teachers can use it to find tips and ideas related to their classroom, and then we can use it as a way to communicate with parents and students with daily information, pictures, and reminders and events. And later on, something that I think is really cool is using it as student blogs. So students can post their work on here, and it can be a progression throughout the year, kind of like a portfolio. Then we have Pinterest. This can be used for teachers to get ideas for lessons and projects, but students could also use it that way too. It's a form of collaboration, so parents, teachers, and students can all use this. You can set up a specific page for your classroom, and then you can post pins on there that focus on different themes or lessons that you are using, so students can go in and learn more about a subject and find different tips and tools. We have YouTube. This can be used for research and adding visuals into your lessons. There's also a special section dedicated to teachers called TeacherTube. You can also post assignments to share, and this is kind of where vlogs would go in. Students can post their work to share, kind of like we're doing now. Then we have Skype. Skype can connect us with anybody, anywhere, anytime. So it's virtual connections and making, those connections with people in different countries and different areas of the world and seeing firsthand kind of like what's going on. There is a whole portal in Skype that's also dedicated to educators, and it's already set up by the Skype team, so you can kind of go in and just figure it out. There's Google. So you have Google and Google Classroom. So for Google, we use it as a research tool. One of the big things is to go into TED Ed for TED Talks. And so these are like shorter animated clips that can branch into all subjects. So that's something really great to use in your classroom. Then there's Google Plus, and this is where you create circles. So if you have a student that is struggling and not grasping a topic, then you can add them to a specific circle, and this will have tools and resources for them to better understand a topic. And then we have Google Classroom, which is becoming really popular. If you go on and look at Google Classroom, it says that it streamlines assignments, boosts collaboration, and fosters seamless communication to make teaching more productive and meaningful. You can create classes, distribute assignments, send feedback, and see everything in one place. Now let's talk about social networking and media forums that you can use for daily behavior, classroom management, and communication with your parents. So the first is Class Dojo, and this is one that I've been personally using the past few years, and it works on a point system, so you can give and take points. You go ahead and predetermine things to get points for and lose points for, and you can change that throughout the year. You can post daily pictures and information and reminders and calendars. So not only are you connected as a class privately, but you are connected as a whole school. So your activity teachers, your guidance counselors, your principals, any staff in the school can be on Class Dojo and communicate. So on the school page, you will get notifications and information that is going out to the whole school. Activity teachers can give and take points and communicate with parents, and then you have your private class page. You can also do private messaging. So parents, that's a way to communicate. It's instant. Parents get notifications when their children lose or get points. You can see who's viewed your post. And now a new aspect of Class Dojo is they started coming out with portfolios. So you can group pictures for students, and you can go back and see stuff that they've done throughout the year. Another highly used forum is Remind 101. And so this is a text type of application. So you can text the class and your parents as a whole group. You can see who has viewed your reminders or your text. So as early childhood, you would use this just with parents, but then as you move up to the upper grades, this is a great tool to use with students as well as sending out reminders and notifications. You can also send pictures with this as well, and students and parents can like and communicate with their pictures. You can like, heart it, smile, all that stuff, kind of like Facebook. So the last one is one that I learned about through this research, and it's called Blooms. It is kind of like Facebook. It looks a lot like that kind of forum. So parents and teachers can communicate. Parents can communicate with each other. It's kind of like an all-in-one. You can post calendars and online sign-up sheets. So that's a new one for me to personally kind of look around and see what's going on with that. Okay, so here's how I could implement social networking into my classroom in the different areas. So for math, we could use YouTube to watch videos to learn strategies, learning songs that have to do with math, counting songs, and watch problem solving. We can also use social networking outlets like Facebook and Twitter to conduct surveys and polls, and then take this data and incorporate it into our lesson. For science, we can use YouTube to watch different experiments or events that we may not get to see in person. So this could include life cycles or the eclipse, different visuals like that. For English, we could use blogs to post assignments. We would use Chromebooks in class to conduct research through Google. And then we could also use Twitter to post and answer questions from within our classroom or around the world. For social studies, we could use Twitter to follow pages like the History Channel or different news outlets local and in different areas to stay up to current events and see what's going on in the world. We can communicate with other students in classes through Twitter and Skype, and then also watch videos on YouTube to kind of get some more concrete images and visuals added to our lessons. So here are two websites that I found that could be really useful tools for educators on how to implement social networking into their classroom. The first one is on EdWeek, and it's called Connecting a Classroom, and it's reflections. So it's first-hand reflections on using social media in the classroom, and then at the end it includes additional resources that you can go into yourself. The second one was on Edudemic, and it was how to use social media as a learning tool in the classroom. So it's how to start the implementation of social media in the classroom. It talks about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, blogs, and YouTube. So these are both great resources on how to start social networking in your classroom. And here are the sources that I used throughout this presentation. I hope that you learned some new things and some new ways that you can implement social networking into your future classroom.